Welcome to the first ever episode of the Unstoppable Podcast. My name is Dan J. Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable Podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? To kick off the Unstoppable Podcast, I've put together a very special 10-part series designed to help you to achieve your most adventurous goals this year. Each episode within this series will contain specific lessons to help you become unstoppable in business and life. And the first 5 episodes are available for download right now on iTunes and Stitcher. So please make sure you subscribe to the show to get the full 10-part series. So here we are. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Unstoppable Podcast. I'm so excited for what's about to come over the next 10 days and beyond. But before we dive in, let me introduce myself and share the journey that resulted in me creating the Unstoppable Podcast and why I believe it's important. My name is Dan J. Gregory, but you can call me DG. I'm passionate about making a difference in the world by helping you to become unstoppable in business and life through sharing practical strategies that will empower you to defy your limits, unleash your greatness, and build your business empire that will enable you to live a life by design. Outside of my business life, I enjoy pushing my body to the limits in the gym, traveling the world, and creating adventures with my partner, Lizzie. Prior to starting my business, I spent 8 years working in the corporate world, and whilst I initially enjoyed the buzz and the competitive spirit that came from working in that environment, I eventually became unfulfilled because deep down I knew I had more to offer than what was offered by working in that confined four-wall environment of corporate life. It took a long time for me to finally pluck up the courage to leave. 3 years, in fact, from the moment I knew that corporate life was no longer for me. I handed in my notice 1 month before my 29th birthday. I got to the point where enough was enough, and I had to make the commitment to make the change before I turned 30. So I figured that retiring from the corporate life at that point would give me a full year to figure out exactly what I was going to do before hitting the big 3-0. When I walked out of the door of my office for that last time in 2012, what followed that moment of liberation, excitement, and fear of the unknown was a long journey of self-discovery to find my true path in life. And it took a lot longer than the initial year that I anticipated. I struggled for the first few years to get clarity on exactly what I really wanted to do with my life and what kind of business that I wanted to create. I dabbled with all kinds of different business models, from affiliate marketing, network marketing, coaching, consulting, and speaking, without really ever committing to a path. I had many battles with self-doubt and fear along the way, all whilst having to face up to the limited and often negative thinking of other people. And as a result, I often found myself feeling isolated on my entrepreneurial journey. That was until I discovered that I was not alone. The more I surrounded myself with people who were on the same path as me, the more I discovered that many of us were facing the very same frustrations and challenges. I began to study some of the most successful people that I admired, and it became very apparent that they too had all faced the same struggles that I had been fighting against. However, they had found a way to move beyond the challenges and unleash their greatness. I realized that success leaves clues, and that those who've gone before me can show me a way to find clarity, achieve my goals faster, and overcome the specific challenges that I was facing. This led to an absolutely relentless desire to discover the secrets of human performance and to uncover exactly what it takes to achieve greatness. This journey is what has led to the creation of the Unstoppable Podcast. The Unstoppable Podcast is my way of sharing everything that I've learned and continue to learn with you and all those who are on the same path as us. The podcast is for those who dare to dream. It's for those who are willing to disregard conventional thinking. It's for those who want to defy their limits and live a life by design. It's for those who believe that there's greatness within them. It's for those who desire to build a business empire that enables them to profit from their passions and make a greater difference in the world. It's for those who want to become unstoppable in business and life. I have a fundamental belief that greatness is within all of us, and that there are specific qualities and ways of thinking that enable us to live life at the highest level. My goal for the podcast is to hunt down those who have broken through to reach the highest levels, from entrepreneurs to athletes to public figures and celebrities, to be able to tap into and share those lessons that we can each apply to unleash our own greatness and become unstoppable in business and life. By listening to the Unstoppable podcast, I hope that you'll give me your permission to push you where needed, and more importantly, to ask the questions that will help you to discover the insights over the course of this podcast that will enable you to defy your limits, unleash your greatness, and build your business empire. With introductions taken care of, I'd love to hear more about you and your story. So why not head over to unstoppablepodcast.com to say hello, and please share this podcast with those who are walking the same path as us. Now, are you ready to unleash? Let's jump into episode 1. I'm super excited. Firing up your desire and designing your destiny with the power of vision. My outcome for this episode is to create a fire of desire within you and to help you identify the one obsession that will pull you forward in the face of any challenges that you encounter. The reason I've chosen the topic of vision for the first episode is because it is the force of desire that came with creating a vision that produced the most significant and positive shift in the direction of my own life. Having a compelling vision defines what you want your life to ultimately be about, and this episode will give you an incredible foundation to build upon throughout the rest of this 10-part series. Have you ever asked yourself, what do I ultimately desire for my life? What is the burning obsession that I want to focus on creating during my lifetime? These are big questions. Life was very different before I asked myself these questions. I went to school, went to university, got a job, and followed the traditional path because that's what we were taught to do. I didn't know any different. But I soon got dissatisfied and started looking for ways to create change, but I was living in my comfort zone. The comfort zone is a very popular place to hang out. How much time do you find yourself spending there? It took 2 circumstances to jolt me out of my comfort zone. 1, the realization that I was totally unfulfilled by my work and that I was not living up to my potential. And 2, loss of love. How many of you have ever been through an unexpected and painful breakup? I see you nodding. If it hasn't happened yet, I'm sorry to say, it's probably going to happen someday. But in 2009, I went through a painful breakup, and after a long period of stagnation, misery, and woe is me, I snapped out of it. The breakup made me question everything about myself, and ultimately, it made me realize that I was playing small and I was not showing up as the best version of myself. I decided that it was time to reinvent myself and become a better version of me, DG 2.0. I created a vision that expanded my view of what is possible. It gave me something to be excited about, and it gave me a clear direction. Most importantly, it pulled me forward and gave me the kick up the arse I needed to make some major changes in my life. Vision is being able to see what you want for your life and your business in your mind before it becomes reality. I made a list of all the things that I wanted to be, do, and have over the next 12 months and beyond. Those who have a strong vision are laser focused on making every tomorrow better than today. They are more optimistic about the future. They focus on their strengths and execute with confidence and take consistent action. This concept is something that absolutely compelled me. Visionaries are those who can and will put their dreams into action. A visionary can make sense of an idea and make it happen. A visionary takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. Our imagination enables us to see and experience what we want in our lives before it happens. The clearer you are, the easier your brain will figure out how to make your vision a reality. Before I move on to the next part of the story, let me share some examples of some visionaries who have inspired me. In 1985, a broke and depressed Jim Carrey drove his old beat-up Toyota up the Hollywood Hills. Whilst he sat overlooking LA dreaming of success, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and post-dated it for 10 years, and he kept it in his wallet every single day. And as of 2016, he is now the highest paid actor in the world. John F. Kennedy said, "I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth." This was long before Neil Armstrong famously declared, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," as he became the first person to step onto the moon and yes, get back to the earth. Walt Disney quit Universal Pictures in 1928 after being asked to take a 20% pay cut. He went on to create Mickey Mouse, and from there he had the vision to create the biggest and greatest theme park ever seen. telling others, I want it to look like nothing else in the world. Disney World is now the most visited tourist attraction on Earth. And finally, Steve Jobs was living off free meals from the local Hare Krishna temple and returning Coke bottles for change just to get by whilst he worked every day on his vision with Steve Wozniak from his garage. He said, we started out to get a computer in the hands of everyday people, and we succeeded beyond our wildest dreams. And in 2015, Apple became the most profitable company in history. The key is first having the vision and then making it your reality. Prior to being jolted out of my comfort zone, I've never really stopped to consider what I wanted my life to be about. The late Jim Rohn said, it's not the blowing of the wind which determines our destination, it's the set of the sails. The same gust of wind blows on all of us, but it's how we set our sails that gives us direction. So the first step to getting what we want in life is to know what we want. This might sound very simplistic because it is, but once we have absolute clarity about what we want for our life, then we're able to set the sails of our life in the direction that we want to take rather than follow the drift of the tide. To get clear on our vision, we simply ask the question, what do I ultimately desire for my life? Most people never take the time to seriously consider this. Dreams are the seeds of reality. The oak tree sleeps inside of the acorn. What dreams are sleeping inside of you? Our eyes give us the ability to see what's in front of us, but our vision gives us the ability to see the future. Once I'd set my vision, life rapidly changed for me. I transformed my body, my health. I traveled the world. I got my first motorcycle. I stopped being a party animal. And I focused on creating a better future and became a much stronger person. However, despite the compelling vision and the frustration with my career, it still took me a further 3 years to escape my corporate job. Why? Looking back, it's quite clear that the primary reasons for the delay were fear, self-doubt, and indecision. And I'll be covering how I overcame each of these individually over the course of this 10-part series. So whilst I was considering my options, I was presented with the opportunity to travel to the coast of California at the end of 2012. My desire to go to California was so great that change became a must. I booked my flights and therefore cut off all sources of retreat by committing fully to my outcome of leaving my corporate career behind. And when I quit my corporate career, I made the commitment to the life of the entrepreneur, and I burned the bridges so there was no going back. It was not until the change became a definite burning desire that I made the decision to finally quit my corporate job. This principle of having a major burning desire was reinforced again more recently when I was struggling to get clarity on how to take my business forward after I'd hit a financial bump. I'd been dabbling with my business and experimenting with lots of different business models, and all of a sudden I was presented with the risk of needing to get a job due to the financial predicament that I got myself in. So once again, I'd reached the point where change had become a must, and I had to make some important decisions. And it was at this point of decision that I realized the power of having one major, definite desire. Dabbling in everything never leads to mastery. You don't see the tennis champions on the rugby field, you don't see the movie stars on the Olympic podium, and you don't see musicians in the boardroom. Having one major dominating desire until it becomes an all-consuming obsession is the key to mastery. I use the forces of frustration to find my one big thing, my one burning desire. My question to you is, have you discovered your one big thing? Rather than waiting for frustration like I did, decide to make the change a must now. Knowing your one big thing gives you the burning desire to win. And it's the difference between hoping for change and making the change. As I was making the decision to quit my corporate job, I could already see the Californian coast in my mind and visualize all the different areas and the cities that I was going to visit once I got there. So the decision was already made in my mind when I had that. The objective is to clarify your one burning desire and become so determined to have it that you can already see yourself in possession of it and cultivate the belief deep in your soul that you will have it. Once you can find that level of belief, then you are ready to be unstoppable. So find that thing. Find that thing that inspires the heck out of you, your one burning desire. So if the first question was, what is your burning desire for your life? The next question is, are you thinking big enough? Michelangelo said, the biggest threat for most of us is not that our goals are too high and that we might miss them, but rather they're too low and we might hit them. Our vision is not a function of our circumstances. It's a force that liberates our desire to create a better future. Are you limiting yourself based on where you are now or your past? You can keep reliving your history, or you can start writing your future today. Everybody's got challenges and struggles. It's not what happens to us that determines our future. It's what we do about what happens that determines where we go. I've learned that no more effort is required to think big in life and to demand abundance for ourselves and prosperity than to accept the misery and poverty that comes from thinking small. I hit the financial roadblock in my business for a number of reasons, but ultimately it was because I was not thinking big enough. And consequently, I had not found the thing that was big enough to create a burning desire to achieve it. Thinking big gives us that hunger. It gives us that drive to keep moving forward beyond the struggles. You give yourself the opportunity to succeed at a level that you didn't believe was possible when you allow yourself to think bigger. When you know what you want and you've got the determination to stand by that burning desire until it's realized, then your vision will take you beyond any challenges that you face. When your vision becomes an all-consuming, burning obsession, you'll create the energy, the power, the belief, all of these things required to make your vision a reality. See, our only limitations are those we have in our own minds. So what do you want the future to look like for you? The first step is to create a life by design and to find your definite burning desire in your one big thing. Your vision is already within you. You can take inspiration from others, but ultimately your vision is found within. I've got some additional questions that I'd love to share with you that you can use to shape your own vision and find your one big thing. And you'll be able to find these questions on the show notes at unstoppablepodcast.com. So here's some questions for you. 1, what is your ultimate vision for your life? What do you want your life to be about? What do you feel like you were put on this planet to do? What impact do you want to have? Who do you want to serve? How do you want to contribute? If there were no limits, what would be possible for your life? What would you spend your time doing if you had total freedom of choice? Who do you want to enjoy life with? What would really excite you? If there were no limits, what would you create, do, have, be, or experience in your lifetime? What do you want to be remembered for? Your vision will pull you forward. Your vision will enable you to discover what you were born to do. So set aside some time this week to go within and design your future. Give yourself an hour and go somewhere where you'll be uninterrupted. Put yourself in a state of absolute excitement and anticipation for what's about to happen. You're going to design your future. So shake your body out. Put a big smile on your face and get writing. Find that burning desire. When you are done, do something in that moment that will immediately move your vision forward. Take that first step in creating the future that you envision. And when you've done that, come over to unstoppablepodcast.com and share what you thought about. Episode 1 is done. Thank you so much for listening to the first ever episode of Unstoppable Podcast. If you've made it all the way to the end, high five. I applaud you for doing so. There is so much more excitement to come. Remember to subscribe on iTunes to make sure you receive the full 10-part series, and head over to unstoppablepodcast.com to see the show notes, get your workbook, and share your vision. If you found today's process valuable, I would be incredibly grateful if you would please share this episode with others and leave a 5-star review on iTunes to help spread the word. If vision is the force that pulls us forward, then fear is the force that pulls us back. In part 2 of this 10-part series, in the next episode, I'll be sharing how to overcome your fears so that you can achieve your goals faster and with less resistance. The second episode is available right now, so if you're ready to rock and roll, I'll see you in a few moments. If not, until the next episode, live without limits and get ready to be unstoppable.